Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Rose Society, a game of swashbuckling action, suspenseful intrigue, and masking. A lot of masking, sometimes with actual masks, all set here in the world of 7th. My name is Dan McCurdy, and I will be your storyteller this evening, and I'm going to let the players that we have here today introduce themselves, starting with Chandler.
Hello there. My name is Chandler. I'm going to be playing Arnau Cecero tonight as he gets up to some fun stuff in a brothel.
Nikoletta.
Hello, everybody. I am Kelsey, or at Farmgrown Nerd, whichever you care to bother to look me up as. And tonight I am playing Nikoletta von Richter, having very awkward conversation that one really should have had before their late 20s.
And Eric.
Hey, y'all. It's Eric Bell Comedy on all the socials, and I will be playing Demetrius Penn, who's tormented, apparently. That is apparently, I thought I was going to be playing a smooth, swashbuckling ladies' man. Nope, horribly tormented. This is a rough road for my guy. It's a fun time.
So today we're doing things a little bit differently. We are going to have a number of shorter character vignettes where characters get a chance to pursue some more personal storylines before we continue with the general thing. So a little bit of a change, but I think you'll enjoy it. Don't worry, it gets spicy at times, and we will go ahead and have that run. Thank you all so much for joining us, and might as well do it now. Thank you so much to Basics of the Game for hosting us. Thank you to our producer, Dragon of the Dark Rose, who you might get to see today. Peace out, everyone. Arnau, the grand ball has ended. The party needs a little bit of time before they can head out. And so everyone has a little bit of downtime in Montaigne, near the capital city of Charus, before they move out. What is Arnau getting up to with just time to himself?
So, Arnau, for a long time now, has been trying to make himself be the best businessman he can be. The best merchant for the Vendel League that he can be. And so what is being a merchant than tempting people to buy things they don't really need, but they do kind of want?
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's in Montaigne, where the nobles are tempted every single day, and they fall for it every single time with courtesans.
Mm-hmm.
What better school to learn how to tempt a noble into buying wine that he doesn't really need or even really want, but kind of sounds okay at this point in time, than going to see a courtesan and, learning how they talk people into doing things that they know they probably shouldn't do in that moment.
Okay. There's certainly plenty of brothels and courtesans spread out all over Charus. Nobles have very particular tastes, and ever since they officially cut ties with the Vaticine, the appropriateness of sex work has kind of raised and has almost created that weird courtesan class within society of women who are not nobility, but are definitely socially superior to your average peasants. Now, is Arnau going to be looking for an independent courtesan, someone who works on their own, or is he going to look for a brothel and kind of pick from who he finds there?
It's a really good question. We do have an alliance with that one group of brothels from what's her name?
Verity is a graduate of the Ambrosia School, which trains both duelists and courtesans. And the Ambrosia School, the Ambrosia Guild is definitely represented in Charus. And so if you wanted to go to where they operate out of, that would certainly be an option.
Well, yeah, he'll go to the Ambrosia School because he is also a duelist. So it will give him a chance to, if they need a time to test his skill as well, he can do that as well. To basically try his hand in multiple ways.
Okay. As you get to the guild house of Ambrosia in Charus, you are aware of the fact that it looks amazing, and like so many other Montanian things, it's very much a guild on the outside. Like gold everywhere to be seen. The main entryway is very beautiful. Ambrosia does not actually take the location that seriously. Like they do good business there. But whereas if you were to listen to Montanian nobles tell you this is the actual heart and soul of the Ambrosia Duelist School, it is a satellite location when compared to the chapter house in Vidachi. But as you approach, it is magnificent. Marble columns leading in, several girls and a few young gentlemen out front, kind of luring in various people. And as you're on the approach, the weird social strata that the courtesans occupy immediately stands out. In general, peasants walk by without looking at it. Just everything about, no, this sinful, horrible things are happening in there, whereas the nobles are like, who's working today? And several other people will come out and just like they will have their favorite courtesan who is almost a part of the family. Like the mistress goes out to, with picnics, with the family and goes shopping with the wife. Or maybe the wife is the primary customer. All of these. So as you are walking in, you are surrounded by beauty. And as often happens with these places, there's also art being made, and people who are singing or learning singing. The Ambrosia is a school, first and foremost. And if you're there, they're going to help you be a better version of yourself. As you walk in, the madame of the place steps out to greet you. Hello. I don't think we have met you here before. What is your name?
Cecero. Arnau Cecero.
Arnau Cecero. I am Callista, and she holds out her hand to you.
Arnau is going to take it. He's going to give it a firm handshake. He is going to, because he usually wears a cape wherever he goes. He's a stylish gentleman. He is going to sort of move his cape so that way, as he's reaching out for her hand, so that way she sees his duelist pen of being I am also a fellow duelist here. Her
eyes
proudly
look to the pen, flick up, and say, "Oh, is it that type of business? Are you here on a contract?"
No, not quite. Here for pleasure to a degree. I'm not here on a contract. I'm here to learn.
To learn, to study. She looks at your pen. You trained in Vestin Manavinyar, glances at your weapons, and graduated.
Indeed. My axes are my strength, but I do not come to train in conflict, though I'm certain there are many here who could even best me.
We do have some very talented duelists here. Some of them. Do you indeed?
Well, she's not here currently, but I do indeed know one of your graduates, Miss Verity. Quite
Verity.
skilled. Verity. Let's see if I can't remember her last name.
Victoire-Couteau.
Verity Victoire-Couteau.
She pauses and considers, and I'm not familiar with her. She might be from one of our other branches.
Perhaps. You do have many throughout Montaigne, so I would not be surprised.
And around the world. Certainly welcome. Do you have so if you're here to train, I am finding you a teacher, I am finding you a companion, I'm finding you both?
I think both would be the would be the appropriate term.
Follow me. And she leads you out of the big gilt hall that most people will see and back into the more... The area quickly becomes Vidachin. It's like, okay, we will spend the ridiculous amount of money to get this much made. Okay, now we're done play acting, and now we're getting into the actual school. And you can see where people stay, where the students stay and are being trained. And she walks the hall and she goes, now, we have always been a school of two sides, our duelists and our courtesans. Often our students are both. In what arts did you wish to be instructed?
Unfortunately, I'm already quite the duelist myself, and while learning new skills is not below me, I would certainly love to learn your techniques. I'm more interested in being trained as a courtesan.
Indeed. Cecero. Castilian name. Familiar. Where have I heard the name Cecero before?
Well, you might have seen it on some of your fine wine.
The Cecero Winery, yes. You haven't
Indeed.
been available for some time.
No, I have not. It's been quite some time, and unfortunately, my business has had to shift towards mead because my investments investing. It's a whole dramatic issue, but unfortunately, my winery in my domain has been taken from me, not necessarily fully legally, and I am working to get it returned to me rightfully. So it's been some time.
A revenge plot. Now, is this a sort of thing that if we teach you as you are carrying out your vengeance, it's likely to return to our doorstep? I'm not rejecting you. I'm merely measuring what I should be charging.
Let me ask you this. Would a successful revenge plot not increase the success of your courtesans tenfold?
Not necessarily. Courtesans need to be seen and recognized as available, desirable, but also safe. If we're seen taking sides in political conflicts, that might make certain nobles less likely to bring us on. So what I can offer is this. I can offer you training. But also I suppose I should ask, how much time do you have for this training?
I have quite some time. Me and my group are getting together in the next few days to discuss where we will go next. But for now, we have some time. A few days.
So a matter of days. So we're not talking about a full curriculum, just a session or two.
You'll find me no stranger to such skills. So...
All right. Then I believe let us place the cost of the first session at 10 gold. And I will put you in the hands of one of my finest teachers.
10 gold. Easily.
10 gold is steep, but not utterly unreasonable.
And with my wealth score, definitely not for me, right?
With your wealth score, you can handle it. This isn't a thing you could do every day, but with the way your wealth comes in, this isn't going to bankrupt you.
10 gold for a skill. For a skill such as yours, it's doable.
All right. She brings out a contract, everything perfectly legal, what they are offering, what you are purchasing, and also on the contract, the clear delineation, this will not mark you a graduate of the school, merely someone who studied here for a time.
Okay. Good to know. So sorry, grabbing my dice. A clear delineation. I can respect this. I can respect this. A level of professionality here in this contract.
Yeah, it's actually, you can tell that these contracts were ironed out in working with Vidachin merchant princes who are ruthless. They always honor the contracts, but you make sure everything is mapped out.
They are who Arnau has probably actually modeled some of his own contracts off of.
Mhm.
So he's looking at this and he's going, "Okay, I can see where you've learned this from." I will say the wording here is a little vague. Points to the point where it's one random point where he goes, "But everything else is fine. I don't see any issues."
How would you like to clarify it then?
That I am not. I would say that I am. This will not mark me as a graduate of the school, but simply as a patron. You can learn much more from a courtesan without being trained in anything else.
Very well. And she clarifies the language. This will be able to show that you have been a patron in one of the many Ambrosia guild halls.
That should keep any and all question off of you, and any techniques that I learn would be
Use at your own risk.
Yes, would be a mere would be osmosis.
Mm-hmm. Very well.
Now, of course, we don't know what the actual intent is, but never know.
Mm-hmm. She marks some things down. She says, "I think I have someone special in mind for you. Wait here," and she will be out. As with all of our courtesan dealings, if she is not to your preference, you may certainly request someone else. But I will say, and others will vouch, that if you're looking for a teacher, she's among the best.
I look forward to your judgment.
She steps away, and shortly after, it's not a door opening, but what had looked to be like silk curtains all around the room you're in, part showing a passageway. And out steps an absolutely gorgeous woman with long brown hair coming down. And there's an ethereal sense to her as she steps out and approaches you and offers out her hand. "I am Katharina."
Katharina. Where would that name come from? That sounds...
Between her accent and the name you're guessing user in. Possibly Northern Isen.
You're not from around here, Catherine.
I am not.
Oh.
This is my home now, though. I, like you, began somewhere else. Actually quite far from here.
Good to hear. Perhaps you'll have to tell me a little bit about your travels, and I can share some stories about mine.
She smiles and says, "All right. Let me take you to a less public chamber if we are to learn." And
yes.
She leads you through the curtain, which closes behind the both of you, and through a few passages, and you get the sense that you're actually going down. And with some of the activity you have had in Charus lately, you realize you're actually going back into the catacombs. There's a part of it that has been blocked off by the school and appropriated for their own use. And so she leads you down here. It is very well lit. There are lamps everywhere, and they're taking advantage of the natural beauty of the catacombs that had been very much obscured by being sewers when you were down before. And you can see some of the natural beauty to be here. And you can see the work that went into reclaiming it, likely when they purchased this building and started changing it to their own needs. And she leads you into a very well-appointed room. There's some chairs. There is a small mini bar, for lack of a better word, that has some drink options, including, you will note, a bottle of De Cecero, one of the ports. And as she guides you in, she's like, "Refreshment if you need it."
Arnau is going to go over and he is going to grab the bottle of Cecero. And
This is the year. This was the best you ever did. And as it happens, the third crop you managed personally.
he's going to say, "You have good taste," or "You're."
Unfortunately, I can't take the credit for that. The sommelier we have, however, I understand, is very talented. I have never found fault in any of the wine that she leaves.
Oh. Tell her I compliments to the chef, I suppose.
She smiles.
He's going to set out 2 glasses and pour 2 glasses of wine.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things you notice very quickly is that there is running water in this room. There are a couple of spigots that are coming out of the walls and pouring water. It just gives this running water sensation that, with the enclosed nature of the room, has a very lovely, very soothing echo effect, and is quite strange. Not something you've seen really anywhere. You've seen rooms with running water, but this seems to be almost entirely ornamental. And
it sounds like almost like the Oracle of Delphi chamber or something here.
and she actually has a hand just kind of dipped into one of them, just like she's playing with it.
Huh.
I understand you're not just here for pleasure, but also for instruction.
Indeed. I have been... Do you want the whole sob story, or do you want just the basics?
You can tell me any story you like, though the more I know, the more likely I am to be able to help you. But I will not question your story. I will simply hear it and go from there.
My lands were stolen from me, my proper inheritance. And I have found that the ability to move men's hearts, as well as their reason, has been a great skill for me. The better merchant I am, the better I am at getting people to move, as well as getting people to move against what may be their better judgment, has helped me before in getting me one step closer to my lands and getting me one step closer to making another lovely bottle of port just like this.
She takes another sip. Now that is a goal worth pursuing. Tell me, how would you like me to call you?
You may call me Arnau, if you wish.
Oh, no. She stands up and walks around behind you and starts massaging your shoulders.
Arnau
and she's good.
Arnau sort of gives, like, because she is good, Arnau sort of gives, like, when you get your shoulders touched and, like, your instinct is just to roll your shoulders back as they're being massaged?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that he just, the head, like, just is, like, released, the shoulders start moving back, and he's just like, that, you are better at that than I was expecting.
She giggles a little bit at that and then says, "Tell me of one of your conquests. Tell me about a time in which you got someone to give you what you wanted, making them think they wanted it."
There was a young gentleman ages ago from one of the port cities in Eisen. It's one of the few times I've been as close to someone as I was. He was a young noble. Now, In reality, I was trying to get him to purchase some of my wine. I won't lie, that was my only real goal. But he was stubborn. He was from a family who was not quite as well off.
You already told me he's Eisner. You didn't need to say it twice.
His family was even poorer than the typical Eisner, and I should know one of my colleagues is an Eisner woman, an Eisner noble, which means she's basically, a Veseminovinyar peasant. However, I knew that I could. You ever just smell on someone that their preferences?
Yes.
Well, I romanced him, and I won't lie, leaving him hurt. But he bought my wine. And now I have a trading post for Veseminovinyar in Eisner. Run by me. It's mainly just for wine, but other merchants have such made headway in that one specific port city. So it's been very helpful. And it made me a bit of my name within the Vesten League.
Ah, you're with the Vandal.
Yes.
She walks around you, her fingers kind of tracing around your shoulders. And she steps in front of you a few steps. And she's wearing these very diaphanous silk robe. But robe's really not the term because the material is so thin. And her hands go to her shoulders and she brushes it off. And she poses and she turns. And ethereally beautiful. She then smiles at you and says, "You already know much of what it is to draw someone's attention. Your problem is your desire to relish the victory. I see it in you. There are not many who have resisted you in the past. You take what you want and very little can stop you between your own wits, your ability to attract, your resources. There are few you cannot trick, and those you cannot trick you can buy. This has become its own block for you. You want to feel the win. You want them to feel it. That you are victorious. And when you do that, particularly when you are playing with many men, the mood gets broken. They feel they've been had. And suddenly the spell is broken. For instance, I've seen you noticing some of the odd things about my room. She dips some fingers into one of the bits of flowing water and allows a little bit to trickle over your arm, and it is icy cold. And she says, I was found in northern Usura. So they call it now. I hadn't meant to come ashore for long. There was the fruit of a tree I really wanted to taste. Hadn't tasted it in years. And after I'd had my fill and walked back to the shore, someone had found my coat. And so I was theirs. That is the arrangement. He wasn't a particularly kind man. He traveled. He gambled. He gambled my coat. and lost me in a game of cards. And you start to realize this girl is not human. This is a Selkie.
Oh no! I'm in danger!
She smiles as she turns and looks at you. The one who won me, he was kind. He said he had no use of a wife and saw no need for me to be sad, and offered my coat back, but I had seen the women in places like this, and I wanted to learn how they do what they do. He introduced me to Veronique Ambrosia, and she offered me a place in her school. Now she holds my coat. She steps forward. You are Castilian. You've been taught creatures like I are evil monsters that will eat you or steal your soul, yes?
I have been taught many things from my Castilian days that I no longer believe. But yes, that is what I know. That is what I was told.
Does it make you want to leave? Does it make you feel had?
If I wanted to leave, madame, I would have left already.
You can see I'm not a threat. Let me show you how that works. I want you to give me a panache and tempt roll.
How many risks do I have?
I'm going to call it 4. 4 risks of wounds.
Oh dear. Oh no. Okay. Well, that life scheme is going to be working for me. Okay. Okay. That's 1 success, 2 successes. Because of my Lyceum, so that gets pumped up 1. Okay, so 3 successes. This is 4 successes. With
Up to
1
4
die
raises?
left over. Up to 4 raises. With 1
I'm not
die
buying,
left
I'm not using villain points in vignettes. So you do have a hero point to spend though if you want it. So
nah.
she smiles and begins to teach you in a very hands-on way. But this is not like you've been with courtesans before. This is teaching, and it is intense physical activity. And so you're not injured per se. You are tired. When it comes out, but she is there looking at you, playing with your hair, and you feel, even though this is a creature who was kidnapped by a human man, taken away from her home, and eventually lost in gambling, at no point does it ever feel like it, even though all of the clues are here, all the hints are here. And you start to feel a greater sense of what she is trying to teach you. You do occasionally you'll occasionally because that's where her bed is, your hand will accidentally go into the water and it's almost painfully cold in the straight run. You suspect there's some magic involved in keeping the water this cold. Because this is utterly frigid, but she's perfectly comfortable in it. And as you both finish both of you looking tired after everything that's happened. She smiles at you and kind of runs her fingers down your chest and goes, "You're learning. You have it in you to be very good. The only thing really that can get in your way now is you."
Well, then I hope that your teaching will prove its worth. But I'm certain it will.
She nods gracefully, slips back into her robe, and stands. It is rare we take on male students. Veronique is not entirely closed to the idea, but she often likes to vet them herself. Too many think it's a way to get time with courtesans for free. But if you would ever wish to join one of our guilds, you would have a recommendation from me. Simply send word to the Showers chapter house.
Well, perhaps one day I will. Maybe I'll even learn a little bit more dueling skills from you. Maybe not you necessarily, but
She grins. I am decent with the sword, but I am not one of the duelists. It is not natural to my kind, and if I need to defend myself, I have access to other ways.
he sort of dips his fingers in the water. Ways like these.
She glances down and smiles. That is more of a defense. There are few who could chase me into a frozen river. But to one who swum in Grandfather Bay, cold is relative.
Indeed. It is indeed.
And she takes you by the hand, leads you back into the main hall, and you realize a lot of time has passed. You arrived mid-morning. It is dark outside.
Is it still the same day?
You think so.
Okay. Suddenly Verity's having a panic attack, not knowing where I am.
And she will walk you to the gate, give you a kiss on the cheek. It was nice meeting you, Arnau Cecero. I wish you luck in your revenge. Remember me if you get it.
I will. I'll send word. Perhaps we can start a chapter house in my domain.
A Castilian chapter house. That would be audacious.
And it would not be the first time I would have been branded a heretic.
I'm good in the cold, but burning stakes I would find uncomfortable.
It's interesting what you can get away with as a Grand Lord, and who you can try to keep safe.
Grande. Have a good evening. And she steps away, leaving you to walk out onto the streets of Charuz. Nikoletta, it is late at night. The next morning, you and the company plans on moving out, getting on the road and traveling. And so you're taking some time to get what you're always doing, some studying done, some writing, some research. How does Nikoletta do? You've been so much on the move. What is she getting caught up on? Like, what is she working on now that she has a few days of actual quiet and not always being on the run and working at the same desk?
She is getting caught up on her her investigation of the black rose petals. Okay. Probably making a pot or two of tea.
So she is making the black rose tea.
Yes.
Okay. What is she? What specifically is she pursuing as she's doing her work and research on it?
She's looking to see exactly what properties she can pull from it. What she hasn't quite worked out yet is how she's going to test it. So we'll get it made first, and we'll worry about testing it later.
Okay. So, how potent is this tea? How many petals are you using?
She plucked about 3 or 4 after another day or so of letting them all dry consistently. She'll use all of them in one pot.
Gotcha.
A small pot at that, like 1 cup.
Okay, so like 1 cup of water to like 4 or 5 petals. Okay,
Yes.
So it's by tea standards, this is a pretty concentrated.
For rose tea, yes.
Yeah, a pretty concentrated batch. So you now have a steaming batch in this. Because with the boiling water, there's some of it in the air, and the smell is pleasant at first, but there's also something kind of uncanny valley to it. It's hard to name. Like you'll smell it and you'd be like, "Oh, I'm smelling boiling rose petals," but then it'll be like, but there's also something else. And as you look in the water, you see the black of the rose, but there is also red bleeding into the water around.
Oh, that is interesting. She'll try to get like a small glass pipette and get a section of that bleed that's going through the water.
You pull it out and you now have, and as you hold it up to get a better view of it, you can see that the red is actually separating from the water. It's not properly diffusing. It's like there's oil in the water.
Oh, that is interesting. That will go into one of her tiny little chemistry set things, and she doesn't have one of those fancy wheels that spins itself, but she will put it into a small bauble that has a few ball bearings on the bottom, and she'll just sit there and spin it for a minute. So she just
centrifuge, get it fully separated. All right.
Yeah.
As you're doing that, the red actually begins to self-separate, and you realize it is parting very similarly to blood.
Okay, and she just takes note of all of that. She'll get the flask capped off with a cork and some wax.
Mm-hmm. Any other experiments you're looking to do on the tea?
Not for the moment. Like I said, she's just working on this tea, thinking to herself, now how exactly am I going to test this? Because I'm not drinking that. She's just looking at it.
As you're doing that, you hear a slight tinking noise coming from the window. You are on, and you are in Verity's aunt's townhouse, and you're on the 3rd floor.
Okay. She'll just kind of look over her shoulder. She's heard tapping at a window before, but it's always something silly, like a bird passed by. So she's just, strange, didn't know they had that here in Montana too. And she's carrying on about her business.
And then shortly after that, another ticking sound.
No, what in the world? And at the second time, she'll go check.
Mm-hmm. You go, and there is a small balcony outside. Like you have a little place where you can go and kind of look over. And looking down at the ground, looking up at you, you see Edmund.
Now, but what are you doing here?
And he gestures for you to open the window.
She'll open the window.
Hello. I'll confess I'm not particularly used to this. I didn't want to startle you by knocking on the door.
Yes, knocking on the window is far less startling.
This way, at least you didn't turn around and see my face staring at you. Would you mind if I came up?
Certainly. She's kind of looking at him like, how is he going to get up there? Is there a clear path that she can see? Is this like if you make
as you look, there's actually like a trellis that certain things are growing on and stuff like that. And this musketeer starts climbing up to you.
Oh my goodness.
And he moves up and fairly adeptly gets up and puts a foot over and is... Demetrius is freaking out in the chat. And we'll step over onto the balcony. A little rumpled by the ascent. It's like, stories always make that seem easier. But certain standards for musketeers, I suppose. Henri thought it would be a good idea anyway.
Oh, Okay.
I'm sorry for surprising you. Did I interrupt your research?
No, not exactly. I was just finishing up some notes.
I will confess I'm not necessarily good at this. I was in the middle of my own research and my mind kept wandering, thinking about our dance at the ball, actually.
I've thought of it several times as well. We're not alone.
We're both children of noble families.
That is true.
And as such, there's some things we do not get choices in.
That is very true. Yes.
That said, I didn't want to just let you go without saying anything.
Edmund, I don't. Her nose is starting to get really red, so she's just sitting there trying to fiddle with it.
Cover.
Stop it. I don't. Perhaps you could. What do you mean, not say anything? What is that to say? We have known each other, what, 2 days?
And it's been a very different 2 days than any other 2 days put together I can think of.
Well, for me,
and that's besides the fighting the monstrous undead and dispelling a plot to murder the royal family by zombies.
Well, you can't claim you've been bored since meeting me.
And certainly not. I'm a musketeer. I'm to be a marquis if I ever give up my commission.
A marquis?
Yes. A musketeer has no other rank, but we do not have to give up our old rank in order to hold it. It simply goes into abeyance. The day may come when, for family or country or whatever, I am called upon to marry someone else. I don't know.
And the same may come with me. I told you of my sister, remember?
You mentioned her. You didn't go into much detail.
Well, so wasn't much time for much detail at the time.
No.
I promised my father, upon leaving her funeral, that he may choose as he saw fit. This is not... I forfeited that. But, that being said, I could say something to him, but I would have to know if I should.
He closes his eyes at that, very deep in thought. Do you know what my temptation is right now? To grab one of my notebooks and just start writing my thoughts down until I find the one that makes sense.
She kind of slowly reaches into one pocket, slowly pulls out a small journal.
He laughs and he looks at it. A woman such as you deserves promises.
Promises are for those who don't fear the next day. And more often than not, if anything, meeting me for the past few days has taught you is that I can scarcely guarantee my next hour.
That is another thing, and an easier thing, so I might go to that. I'll come back, but welcome distraction. And he opens a pouch on his belt, and he pulls it out, and it is a small patch, like one that might get sewn onto something, and he hands it to you. It is blue with 3 pearl white fleur-de-lis in it, the mark of the Musketeers.
This is lovely.
Give that to any musketeer, anywhere you find them. They will be able to send a message to me. If you are in need of aid or defense, they will offer it as if you were their own sister. We are not everywhere. The Emperor's reputation abroad means that when we are abroad, we often have to act in secret. You are going into far greater danger than I.
Don't count those chickens too early. It very well might find its way here, so I hope it doesn't.
That's part of why I cannot just go to the royal family and demand that I be sent on assignment with you, because what you're doing is important. For now, I am the foremost expert on the labyrinth, and so must be present for the effort to clean it up. And given that you got here scarcely in time, it would be foolish to ask you to stay back, and I'm doing my best not to be too foolish.
You are needed here. I am needed in Ison. But I can help a little bit. And she walks over to her workstation.
And he walks over with her.
She'll pull out, again, the creepy-looking bound journal and flip it to her page for, I'm trying to remember what the actual name of the ungent is. What is it? Scourgebane. And she'll write it down. If any undead finds their way back into the city again, makes this into an oil, it'll take about 3 days to steep. But after that, coat the blades in it. That same blue flame you saw, this is what makes it. If anyone asks, that's not what you think it is.
There's a small smile on his face. 3 days ago, finding a formula like this would have been the scariest experience of my life. And yet, receiving it from you, I know it'll keep me safe.
So long as you use it properly. Don't go drinking it or anything like that.
No. Nikoletta. And the way he says your name, it's like he's caressing it. Like, rather than making promises that neither of us can keep, or at least be sure that we can keep, and I would never want to make an oath breaker of you. If a way becomes clear, wherever your journey takes you, know I will be interested. And if I can find a way, suffice to say that if I do not, when the day comes, it will be you on my mind. You are the keenest mind I've ever encountered. You pick up everything so quickly. The way you see everything around you, you can just see your eyes drinking in every detail.
She's got that blush that starts on her nose is like spreading across her face the more he's talking. But she's quite stunned, silent.
He gently reaches up and strokes your cheek with his fingertips. I'm sorry if I'm making you uncomfortable.
You tell me, Edmund, exactly how much of this sort of conversation have you had before?
Outside of potential contracts, none.
I have even less experience. You're not making me uncomfortable. This is new to me. This is something that I hadn't sought to ever look for. I was born into privilege, and with that comes specific obligations. I never thought to want.
I know. I was the scholar. I was the scholar who would be married off and didn't care because it was just data. Part of the equation. Now there's a variable with a face and long blonde hair.
It's not that long, is it? Oh, yes, it is.
You shared something precious and dangerous with me. Allow me to return the favor. And he goes back into the pocket that he had the patch in. And when he pulls it out, he turns it, and you see the insignia of the secret college, or the invisible college. Once upon a time, the schools of the Vaticine faith were the best in the world, bar none. But with the coming of the third prophet and the Inquisition, it was believed by the church that they were unnecessary distractions, and the schools were shut down. And any scholars that attempted to fight that were often put to death. The ones that remain are known as the Invisible College. And he shows it, and he's like, I've been a member since I was 12.
Yeah, I think you'll stop impressing me one of these days.
You gave me something precious and dangerous. I wanted to return the favor.
Are you sure?
You have this now. Well, I can't give this. I need it for my interactions. We don't have lots of them around, but you know. They are even more difficult to contact than Muscatari, who are not in Montaigne, but they would definitely be interested in you and what you know. And they do have great resources of learning left, and I know no few of them have been looking into the difficulties of ice in the way you do.
To have more to study. To maybe save my home. I'm not certain anything I've done warrants such a gift.
He takes your notebook from your hand, and in just a random page, he grabs your feather pen from the desk and makes a small sketch. It's the mark of the Vaticine faith with a book underneath it, but only if you kind of squint. Like at first it appears to just be random scratches. And if you see that, you're near a scholar. It's a mark that we use to signify each other. You'll know someone is close, and you know how we think, so you should be able to suss them out. He very gingerly takes your hand in his and pulls it up to his mouth and kisses it.
She squeezes his hand.
I like to think of myself as a rational man. So allow me to say the most irrational thing. I am inexperienced with the sensation, but I do believe I love you, Nikoletta von Richter.
I'm not certain it's far enough to call it love, but I don't know of anything else I could call this.
These words are just completely inadequate to what we're trying to do here. It's very frustrating.
Very, very frustrating.
There's a moment, and you realize the set of both of you. You have just been like, there's gravity, like the two of you are like getting closer and closer.
Mm-hmm.
What is Nikoletta thinking? What is her instinct in this moment?
She's kind of like a deer in the headlights at the moment. If I'm being honest, it's just very, oh boy, this is happening. I've heard about this happening. I didn't think this was ever going to happen to me. What is happening right now? So she's nervous. She's excited, but it's just deer in the headlights. Like, oh wow, he's getting close.
Is she like, because as you say that, you are like pulling away. Is she pulling away? Would you say?
She's not pulling away exactly. No, it's just like it's almost as though the gravity of the two of them coming together is completely lost on her. So every time she looks up, she's a little surprised at how much closer she is.
Mm-hmm. He is not the best at hiding his intention. You get the impression that he largely hides himself behind the study. Is probably the only way he gets away with it. He's a musketeer, and everyone just sort of assumes that. So y'all are vicious in the chat. What would Demetrius do now? So Demetrius wants you to jump out the window right now. So
get over it.
He begins to lean in, and you get the impression he's about to go for the kiss, and then you can see in his face the moment he second guesses himself and overthinks it, and begins to slow down and pull back, like she probably doesn't want. She sees it though.
She'll put a hand on his chest, and kind of just looking up, she'll lean up as a lot quicker than is probably necessary. Probably bonks their noses. Just I don't.
And with that, an arm goes around her, and he just pulls her in for a kiss. It is awkward. It's both of their first kiss. I'm gathering, and so it's not like the great passionate. It's two people trying to figure it out. But then he pulls back a bit, kind of bonks his forehead against yours. Well, with that, at least, it's better than words.
Acta non verba.
He gives your hand another squeeze and says, I would tell you to be careful, but I know you're not going to. So I will instead say, be smart. And you're good at that.
Always. And you do the same. Yeah.
Of course. And should we meet, should I find myself engaged, I might do some inquiries with my family. If you are willing to do the same and see if the way may be made clear. We are both the children of gentlemen, so perhaps something can be made of that.
Well, we'll be visiting my homeland soon. We're supposed to be leaving in the next day or so, I believe. I'll see if I can maybe talk to my father a bit.
There's a part of me is like, oh no, she's going to ice, and the other part is, who could do better there than her? So. All right. I have probably been foolish enough, and if I stay much longer, my compatriot will make wild assumptions that are inappropriate. So. Is she also giggling, or is she?
Yeah, no, that's Nikoletta giggling.
And he will.
You've heard Kelsey giggling. It's nowhere near that place.
He'll still kind of holding on her hand. He'll walk back to the balcony and goes, "I wanted this moment to be ours, without an audience. I do not feel the need to keep it a secret, and I hope you don't either. Well, whoever you are willing to tell, I will not mind."
Oh, would I be wrong for wanting to keep something to myself?
Not even a little.
Then I shall keep you.
I'm yours for as long as it is up to me.
At that, she'll kind of like rush forward just a little bit and give him just a plain hug.
Mm-hmm. He hugs her back. And then as he pulls back, he pulls a blade and hands it to her. And it's longer than the average dagger. And it's like, short of Estin Manavinyar steel, it's the best that you can get. And I will be glad to know you have a weapon on hand that will keep the undead maybe a little bit farther from you than normal. You have talented people in your crew who can, I'm sure, show you how to put it to better use. It's no good for throwing, though, just so you know.
This is that moment where Nikoletta realizes that if Demetrius knew what was happening right now, she was like, oh, he's asleep.
And with that, he will step over the balcony and start climbing down.
As he gets just like 2 or 3 steps down the trellis, before he's too far down, she'll kind of lean forward over the railing, kiss his forehead. Be careful.
As careful as I can be. And where I can't be careful, I'll be smart.
Be smart.
And he climbs the rest of the way down, blows her a kiss, mounts his horse, and rides away.
Does that whole Bugs Bunny thing where she just melts back into the room across the floor and over to the bed.
Does she get any more study done? Is she inspired?
Not a damn bit.
Okay.
That all sits completely abandoned on the desk.
I will say the one thing, like just as she's sort of moving around, probably cleaning up because departing in the morning. The section that she had separated, the water is now purple.
Oh.
And with that, we will draw the vignette to a close.
I protested you.
It is a lovely evening. A hero, yet again, having been victorious below the city, fighting in waste against horrific monsters, and attending a ball at the Imperial Palace in Chartreuse Montaigne itself. How is Demetrius Penn feeling in this moment?
He's probably feeling a lot of different things. Feeling towards Verity being something that he's trying to toss in the back of his mind. Probably constantly thinking about back home. And Padachi seems though he seems like a base over there. And then Eisen. And of course, Sarah, he like literally there's so many things that so he's like, there's too much, a little bit too much, just a little too much thought going in. So he kind of wants to distract himself. So he's going to go into town, but like away from anything resembling, higher society. He's going to the neighborhood.
You're going into the undercity of Charlotte.
I'm going to where the peasants would go and drink and take a load off after a long day. That's where I'm going. So I'm putting away the fancier clothes. I'm tucking the coat away. I'm still, with my blade and weaponry. So still that sense, but more common clothes.
Yeah, as you are walking the streets, and you can tell the moment you are off, the paved path, because you go from the elaborate, beautifully worked cobblestones of most Chartreuse streets into mud and excrement. These streets are not as well drained because they're not paved, they're dirty, and so even where there is drainage, the mud tends to clog it up, and no one's really in charge of unclogging it, and so people do or they don't, and sometimes stuff is just tossed out into the streets. It's the side of Montaigne that you have been aware of, that in your time with the Musketeers that they showed you, that you always have to be aware of. Part of the problem of maintaining security in Montaigne is that there are two Montaignes. One is protected, one is not, and the two are so intertwined that you can't be sure that there isn't some secret passage connecting the two. and you come upon a drinking hole. There is no sign, no clapboard announcing the name of the place, and that's often true in neighborhoods like this. Like when a business like this starts to get successful, that's when the lords show up and they start charging tithes and they start making money. So if you don't name the thing, maybe the reputation doesn't get big enough. It's the sort of place that's only talked about by word of mouth, but you just sort of find it, and it's clear that there's a party going on. And you walk in, and it's just lively, and very quickly you're able to gather that this is the aftermath of the ball. Lemper brought in tons of wine, tons of food, tons of drink. Not all of it went, but you would never bring the same bottle twice. And so what was left over was sold by servants for pennies to places like this that had the money, who were able to make the purchases. And you walk in, and there's a good time. There's men, there's women, there's very randy looking barmaids who are just, it's an atmosphere of party, because this is better stuff than they're going to get until after the next ball. And so folks are clearly just enjoy it now, deal with the hangover tomorrow, and then go on with life. So how does Demetrius walk into the joint?
Immediately go straight to the bar. Seems though he's in a side of town where I imagine his coin can actually go quite far.
Yeah.
And so looks around. You got to make sure that everyone is enjoying some drink from the royal family around on Demetrius Penn.
Immediately there's a cheer, and the bartender actually said, "Around on Demetrius Penn," and folks are chanting and cheering. And because you bought the round, as people come up to get their drinks and place their orders, and you do find you have to put out a little bit more coin than you were going for. It more has to do with how many people are here. Like folks are like coming out from under tables, and one guy who you thought for sure was passed out gets conscious enough to get his next one. Folks don't turn down.
Why?
Folks don't turn down free booze. They're coming around, and you have an audience. You buy around. Clearly, you have something you want to say. You're the sort of person that talks. They're here for a story.
Oh yes, let me tell you the stories I've seen. Yes, the ball was amazing. I was there, a personal guest of the princess, of course. But it was just a moment of peace, because I almost died many a times on my way here.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Have you ever fought a group of raiders on a volcano? Well, let me tell you, Demetrius Penn has. And I will literally recap the entire story with a general edit of just everything's a little sexier, everything.
Are you using names? Are you using real names?
No, I'm not using specific names of but what I describe them, so the I won't give specifics on locations, where everyone is from, because he's people can sparse, and so he will kind of gesture to the illustrious mercenaries that I've worked with many a times. They are truly skilled, all legends in their own right. One of them looks dainty like a flower, but her mind is beyond anyone. I have seen her kill 1,000 men with her wit alone, and using just their trades. And then I've seen people be cut down before they can make a single step. Those are the cross blades I have been privileged to fight alongside. Never giving specifics, no describing or anything, but always a crew.
How does Demetrius describe Verity? Because when he's describing the raid on there's going to be a moment that'll be there in his mind.
Well, let me tell you, Demetrius Penn, those stealer virtues, I was quite smitten. There was my friend is he'll look over at wherever the youngest guy is. My friend, have you ever been smitten by a woman, someone who looked at you and you have been captured?
Actually, as you say that, he kind of glances over at one of the barmaids, And at that moment, she is not actually with anyone. She is cleaning some glasses, some dishes over off the side.
Ah, yes, yes. Above your station, you have no chance. But yet, you have the heart of a lion. Let me tell you, Demetrius Penn knew what he had to do at that time. It was time to show what he could truly do. It was time to show this incredible, deadliest partner in combat was smitten. I have seen many a woman. I have been everywhere, Vodachi, Eisen. Everywhere you have been, everywhere you have read, I have been. I've never seen a woman as beautiful and as deadly as her. And so I went into battle and I made quite an ass of myself. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't do a damn thing. I was flailing along. I went into battle and I took out maybe two. And so I turned it on his head. I decided to make myself like more of the joke.
Oh, yeah, and they love it. They are eating up, they are roaring. And at this point, another round gets purchased. But they're like, continue talking. Like, folks are buying new rounds now.
Oh, yeah. And so always twisting. So giving myself this build, but needing to be saved. It's the crew that has saved me. And so and then I am here with the blessing of the crown, and I must enjoy it with you. Oh, please have a drink and let them know that Demetrius Penn has given you a tale of undead, of volcanic raiders, deadly pirates, and of course, the heroes that I have been gracious to be a part of.
There's a yelp from the back of the room. What was the girl's name?
Sir, I could never tell such a, but she is like a rose to me. That's why I was like, I'll call her Rose.
The Rose. Yeah. To the Rose!
To
People yell and drinks are raised, and it is a good night. Folks are into it was already a party when you arrived. It is but it's very quickly getting to the point. There is not a lot of really room for folks to move around. This place is packed. It's getting hot because they're trying to keep the shutters closed because they don't want people. They don't want the lords to know about this place, and everything. And then just folks are all gathered around listening in. You actually notice the young man who you'd spoken to before, and he's kind of glancing over, and he's like, and he walks over to you. The storytelling for the moment has abated, and he walks over to you, puts another drink in front of you. You've had a few at this point. And as he lifts his, he's like, did you tell her? The Rose.
No.
Too noble?
Yeah. Demetrius Penn is a lover. He's a mercenary. But that's someone who deserves someone who can commit. Someone who isn't stained as I am. So, no, I did not tell her. It was, as brave as I am petrified of rejection.
He glances back over at the barmaid again.
And he leans over. But here's the thing. You are not facing a volcanic horde of raiders. It is a barmaid who is alone, who you can perhaps have a lovely conversation with.
He downs his drink, slams it in the table, and goes, yeah. And he, thank you. And he stands up, and he goes and he walks over to her, and she kind of turns.
The second he walks over, I lean back to whoever else may have been nearby. I was like, he's fucking doomed.
And there's a bit of conversation between them. She smiles very pleasantly, and then gestures that she needs to get back to work. And he kind of deflates a little bit.
I should have mentioned you probably need to wait for them to be on a break or
maybe timing. Timing is the
all
moment.
about timing. See, that was my problem too. It's a trait. It's a trait.
I invited her right into my bedroom. It maybe wasn't my best moment. I was
you don't lead with the bedroom, my friend. You don't.
And it's a great night, though. Probably one of the best you've had in a while. Like, you enjoy traveling with your companions, but being back in a low-rent neighborhood with just life and celebration, and you're with stable hands or mercenaries or household guards who can't afford to eat or drink in the house, and it's just a mood of celebration. And you can feel as the evening is starting to drift away. You've had a few. I can't remember. Demetrius gets drunk, right? He doesn't have the
he gets drunk.
Advantage.
No.
You're feeling good. You're feeling really good. And you stumble out into the street, and yeah. Just because why not make it a little bit complicated? We are going to have you do a wits and notice.
Okay.
And I'm taking away your flair and one other die because you are drunk.
Oh, no. That's only 3 dice. That's 1 raise.
Do you want to talk me into any other skill to get you home? Notice is the best I can think of, though.
I do not have. He will ask. See if he can convince someone.
All right.
Like
so then let's make that a panache convince.
Okay.
If you're asking for help.
Yes, I will ask for help. All right. Let's see. Panache. Convinced, but you said I -1 for flair and -1 because I'm drunk.
Yeah. You don't get your flair and remove 1 other die besides because you are quite drunk.
Okay. So wait, hold on. And it's panache. So 2. Normally I would have 5, but I'm removing.
You're removing 1 and you don't get flair. So.
A 3. So actually, it would have been the same thing. It was 3 because the other one was wits and notice, and I had nothing in notice. So yeah, it's the same. Okay. It's the same roll. So one raise.
1 raise. The going is a little bit rough. It's not going to get into anything because we're in a vignette, but probably 1 or 2 minor wounds just from the hey, what's happening, making turns. But eventually, you're kind of, and you get to a crossroads. And you feel like you're getting closer to one of the main streets. And then once you can get there, it should be easy enough to get transport out of town and back to the townhouse where you all are staying. But as you are kind of sorting that out, you glance over into an alleyway nearby, and you see a figure looking out at you. And a soft voice calls out, "Are you lost, sir?"
I look over. Do I see who is speaking?
Well, like I said, a young woman it's actually kind of hard to clock the wearing. Like, the shadows are doing weird stuff with where she's at. You can tell that she's there. You can tell she's quite fair-skinned. Yep, a cloaked figure. Looking at you. It's the cloak that's behaving weirdly. Like, it's catching more of the moon than you would expect. So it's like, it doesn't look particularly fancy, but it seems to be catching the moon in a way cloth doesn't normally. You also might just be very drunk.
I am and at this point I've kind of found my way a little bit.
You think you're getting close to one of them.
I appreciate the assistance, but I believe I have finally found out where I am going.
The figure steps out from the alley, pulls the hood back, And you're looking at Sarah von Richter.
Ah, fucking damn it. Why did I fucking know? It was it was probably the second shot. It was probably the second shot that did me in.
She smiles and doesn't completely approach you. She is staying 2, maybe 3 paces away. That wasn't what I meant when I asked if you were lost.
Is every single time you come around, I'm going to get some type of psychobabble that, is there a warning this time? Is there a problem this time? You got to understand, I don't know if you really are Sarah. Because enough strange shit has been happening that's made me suspicious on every fucking thing, even my mind. So, I know you're helping me. I don't know why.
You helped me so many times.
So, okay, so you're a ghost who is just doing me a favor?
She holds out her hand.
Bedrooms, I could have used some extra help. I could have really used a little, hey, Demetrius, put your pants on. You got like 5 minutes before homeboy comes out. That's you don't come around any of those times.
I can't always appear. I am not actually everywhere.
All right, I'll fucking bite. Where are you?
She closes her eyes for a second and tries to concentrate. There's a cavern underground. It is in Eisen. And it's cold. And you can see her struggling.
Cavern, Eisen, cold. Details. You're in a cage.
No. I know I cannot leave, but I can't remember why. What's
the last thing you remember?
You were happy, exuberant, and I felt it. I wanted to see it.
All right. Why me? Why ain't you been visiting Nikki?
It wouldn't be a favor to her. She would assume it was her studies.
All right. So, Eisen's kind of it's a little bit bigger. So, any chance you can narrow down a cavern underground in Eisen? Are you at your family's house?
No. I haven't been there since you and I were in Freiburg. I went to try to look at it once. I just walked past. They couldn't see me. I'm not a ghost, but she steps forward and she holds up her hand. Do you reach for it?
Yeah, he'll reach for it.
Your hand gets to it, and there's contact for a moment, but it is cold to the touch, and then your hand passes through. I'm here and I'm not, and I know that isn't helpful. I'm trying to describe it as best as I can.
He'll describe the gates. You call anything like that where you are?
The gates to
Like those star gates and
oh yeah, oh
and all that.
yeah.
He'll describe the like certain things that like just how it looked, and it's like in any of your memories, were you ever in one of those spots in Eisen?
There's one under the house.
But you're not under the house.
I don't think so. Father would never let just anyone in.
Into where you are, or into...
Father would never allow someone he didn't know into the catacombs under the family, under the castle. And so the ones I am with, they could not go without either attacking it or bringing me, and I would raise more questions than I do answers.
Yes. So, enemies of your father?
No, not precisely. There's even approval for him. They're so strange.
Anyone ever used the term gentleman of culture?
Men of culture. Fools. Useful fools.
Does the word Lord Monterey sound familiar?
And for a second, she looks scared.
Ah, God damn it. Of course. Well, Sarah, from now, I'm convinced. I'm going to come over there. I'm going to kill Lord Monterey.
I think he's already dead, but he did his damage.
Oh, that's anticlimactic. But all right.
She looks up at you. There is a hand moving. That is difficult to see. But it's the hand that plants the black roses.
Hand that's moving, hand that's difficult to see, plants the black roses. Really would love like a name and an address, but you know, hey, I'll take what I can get.
I am here as much as I can be, but it takes a lot and it distracts me. How is Nikki?
She's good. She's good. She has her studies. She's focused, determined. She's brilliant.
There is a way that I could maybe talk to her. But it's so dangerous, Demetrius, and it would be so selfish of me to even ask.
Ah, the sales pitch. Almost starting to get a little suspicious, but go ahead. What is this dangerous way for you to talk to your sister?
If anyone else were to walk down the street right now, they would think you were talking to yourself.
Luckily, I've been drinking a lot, so yeah.
But if she was here and had taken the correct of her products and her projects, with that, she could see me.
Okay. Would she know the formula?
She has already used it once. You thought that it was as if she had died. But she came back knowing things.
Huh. Yeah, that ain't fucking happening.
No. But that is the way, unless... And she kind of stumbles back and puts up a hand, and it looks like she's leaning against something, but to you, she's just in the middle of the street putting her hand up against nothing.
Hey, Sarah, you're putting up your hand against something. Is it a rock, metal?
It's a statue.
Statue of what?
Of the hand. Of the mistress.
Mistress.
And she pulls her hand back. And then she fades. And you wake up in your bed.
Oh, okay. I made it to bed. I was like, oh, I'm on the gutter. I fell asleep outside. Oh, God.
And you wake up, your head remarkably clear. No hangover that you can detect. It's morning outside. Pleasant day, birds singing. And you're not dead sure how real any of that was. But as you look down at your hand, you can still feel the chill from when it passed through hers. The cavern is deep underground. And Sarah von Richter, dressed in a plain white woolen nightgown, staggers and falls, holding her head and shaking it as she feels the connection break. But there's also a sense of accomplishment. It was the longest she'd held the connection yet, the strongest. Whether it was his emotional state that made the connection possible, maybe it was the drinking, she's not sure. And slowly she stands up, breathing heavily before she remembers that she doesn't need to. And opening her mouth, she reaches up as she touches the long vampiric fangs that are now in her mouth. And the door to the chamber opens. And she looks as the one that has been guiding her these many years since she vanished walks in. And she lowers her head. Mistress.
I would imagine that she's standing just in the shadows, so her eyes are glowing that bright, bloody red.
Mm-hmm.
And then once she finally comes into the light, the glowing stops, and she just walks over with a tender smile to her lips. And she'll lift her chin very gently. My child, I see your powers are developing nicely.
Yes, mistress, this was the longest contact yet.
Very good. Very good. I'm quite proud of you.
I'm terribly sorry. I don't think he trusts me.
Oh, you do not now. And why is that? And she'll gently cup her cheeks, urging her to stand, assisting her a little bit.
She'll slowly get up and be like, he's very clever, and he looks for danger. And I was never just a pretty face for him.
No.
He did not like that I mentioned Nikki.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sure
think he's
he
going
did.
to help there.
Well, I would imagine not with her talents.
They are quite disruptive to our powers, like you said. I have not managed to make a connection with her.
Perhaps her studies are what is interfering with that?
I suspect, like you said, they might.
Well, it is such a vile practice.
Mistress, are you sure you need her? Surely there are other Hexen workers who are more easily approached closer to home.
I am positive, my dear. She is the one I need right now. Her and her merry little band.
You need him too?
In a way, yes.
I thought you were just trying to... You said the emotional connection would help me reach. I thought he was just to develop my power.
Oh, everyone is more than just one purpose, dear.
Mistress, I'm very thirsty.
Well then, let's go get you something to eat, my dear.
And she nods. And she starts walking. And walks a little bit out ahead of you, as she knows you prefer. And her head down, you can see that brain of hers, that mind. The thing that set her apart from just another noble woman who'd been captured in one of your sorties. The thing that made you decide she was worth embracing, and that her sister would likely also be so. So much power in the von Richter family, and a bloodline you are particularly interested in. But the problem with the clever ones is that they are clever. And she is not fully broken yet, though she is very quiet, very obedient. You suspect her father would have said the same. Do you say anything else to her as she walks to where the herds are kept?
One more thing, my child.
Yes, mistress?
Would you like me to send your sister another gift?
I only want her safe, mistress.
As promised, she will not be harmed on her journey.
And that would be lovely, mistress.
But of course, anything for you, my dear. After all, who am I to get in the way of family?
She glances towards a cavern that you know well. Your family is so big already.
And I'm sure it's only going to get bigger. After all, we do adore having children around.
And with that, we close the scene.